I took one for the team and dated a fat girl. Said girl is now my wife and she just found out why I agreed to go out with her. 2 years ago I was at a party with a friend of mine named Joshua. Josh suddenly spotted two girls. The one he was interested in was this pretty blonde while the other was her beluga friend. Josh turned to me and urged me to be his wingman by taking one for the team and distracting her friend while he chatted with the blonde. After a little back and forth, I decided to just do it to be a good friend. So we made our way over and made our move, where I would go in first and start chatting with the friend while Josh began flirting with the girl he was interested in. Again, this friend I was talking to was by no means unattractive in the face, just a beluga. I thought she was very sweet, even though I was just talking to her out of obligation. It didn't really matter anyway cause ultimately the girl Josh was into already had a boyfriend apparently and had seemingly brushed him off, with him eventually patting me on the back to signify I didn't have to chat with her friend anymore. So I decided to politely end the conversation, however, not before she asked for my Instagram, which I decided to give her. I didn't really think much of it at the time, and I was certain I would never see her again. However, a couple days later I ran into the same girl in my school's campus store. I didn't really recognize her at first but she seemed to know me immediately. We decided to chat for a bit, and I was reminded of her name, Megan. Anyway, it was really just small talk until Megan suddenly seemed a little awkward. I asked her if everything was alright and she replied that nothing was wrong but she wanted to know if I wanted to go out with her sometime. This actually came as a shock to me as it was the first time a girl had ever made the first move and asked me out. So, even though she wasn't really my type at all at the time, I said yes. And that was probably the best decision of my life. Me and Megan really hit it off and before long we were in a serious relationship. Any qualms I had about her weight were gone immediately after the first time we had intimacy as I actually found her body to be really soft and comforting. More to play with, as I've always said. I had never felt so relaxed cuddling with someone before I met her. And there was a lot to cuddle. We've been dating for 2 years now and I absolutely love her. She's my everything and I have even been thinking of proposing as soon as we are both done with school. Everything was perfect, until last month. Last month, we hosted a small get-together just for a few friends who are also in relationships, like a couple's game night sort of thing. It was here where Josh, who has been my good friend for years now, was pretty intoxicated, and made a joke about how if he had never forced me to take one for the team back then I would have never found the love of my life. The joke didn't really register to me as anything negative and I was also out of it so I just laughed it off. Megan was cuddled up next to me on the couch though, and asked what Josh meant by that. I told her nothing, but Josh, being the intoxicated idiot that he was, elaborated and told her the story about how we met through my perspective at the time. Megan just said oh, and didn't really react so I figured she just brushed it off. However, the rest of the night she seemed kind of distant and even a little sad. Finally, once everyone had left, she let it all out and started crying. She was essentially in shock because this whole time she thought I approached her because I was interested in her and learning it was because I was forced to seem to bring back old insecurity within her. It doesn't help that she's actually gained weight since back then, and now is truly big, even though I don't really have any problem with that and I've told her that multiple times. More to cuddle and more to love. I immediately gave her the full story, about how I fell for her right after that and I have loved and adored her ever since. She seemed reassured and we even cuddled the whole night after that. Since that night though, she's been acting differently. It's like she's lost her confidence around me. She only wears large, baggy clothing even though she used to never before. She refuses to change with me in the room and hardly eats in front of me. Before, I used to playfully tickle her stomach sometimes and she'd always smile and play along. Now she seems insecure when I so much as accidentally graze it. She also refuses to have intimacy without a shirt on. I miss seeing them rolls jiggling sometimes. So far I sat her down multiple times and explained that her body is incredibly attractive to me and there's no one more beautiful in my eyes than her. But it's like she doesn't believe me. Lately I've been thinking about offering her to come to the gym with me but I'm scared she may be more insecure at that suggestion.